How we doing, guys? Hope everybody is well. It's bloody turned cold now, isn't it? If you remember back a couple of months ago, we went to the open day at Shoshikoi. Absolutely fantastic day, brilliant place. But while I was there, you may recall me saying that I bumped into Frank from the Koi channel. Now, we had a nice conversation, nice discussion about things, talking about his pond, my pond, and I happened to get onto the subject telling him that I'd been having a few issues with my fish for a period of time where they was holding a lot of excess mucus and I couldn't shift it. I looked into my water parameters, all those were fine, couldn't find anything on scrapes anywhere whatsoever, so I was at a bit of a dead end as to what we're going off really with the mucusing up. So then Frank asked me if I'd be willing to test a product for him, which he thinks could have possibly helped my situation. So he introduced me to this product, what he had in development, what he was looking to bring to market, and that product at the time, it didn't, like I say, it was in development still, it didn't have no name, no label, and that product was TPD30. Now what the TPD30 is a pond detoxifier. It was said to detoxify chlorine, heavy metals, ammonia, help with fish health, help promoting a balanced ecosystem, and you know, etc, etc. So it sounded all very, very good. So I obliged, and I took a sample from Frank, and I've been giving it a try. So I've been testing this over the last couple of months, but now is at a stage where the product is now come to market. So what we have here is the released product, Complete Pond Detox. I'm at a point now where I'm ready to share the results that I've been getting from it. So if you stick around, I shall talk you through everything that I've found with this product, everything that it's been good for. Yeah, so let's get stuck into it. Right then, guys, so before we start going through some more tests of what I've been doing at the Complete Pond Detox, I want to refer you back to to a video I did a couple of videos back, and that was a video that I did testing the TPD30 when it was in its development phase, and in that test I did a chlorine test. So I'm not going to bother doing a chlorine test in this video, mainly for the fact I've got no bloody chlorine reagents left in my Hanna meter. So if you want to see how the product deals with chlorine, for those that haven't seen it, then go back and watch that video. I'll just put the thumbnail up here somewhere so you know what you're looking for. It's not a very long video really, I think it's about 15 minutes long, but it'll show you exactly how the product handles chlorine and chloramines. So if you're interested in that, go and look at that. But what I want to do this time round is show you how it deals with other products that's in your pond, mainly how it handles treatments that you've added to your water. In this instance I'm going to show you how it handles potassium permanganate. It's a product that everybody uses, you know, it's a common product in people's ponds, but it's also a product that sometimes, if you do it wrong, can be very, very dangerous. So just by having a product on standby could potentially get you out of a sticky situation. Now obviously, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to pretend that there's not other things you can use for potassium, you know, such as your hydrogen peroxide and your sodium thiosulfate. You know, I'm not trying to put wool over anybody's eyes, but I'm just trying to show that, you know, there is the Complete Pond Detox. Obviously, if you've got a product what can do everything, then that's all well and good. I think that's a fantastic thing. But yeah, we're going to see anyway. I'll show you exactly what it does. In my opinion, having one product that can do everything is an absolute bonus, so we'll get into that. We're going to test for copper, see how it handles heavy metals in your water. Now, for those that don't know, copper is a very toxic chemical in koi ponds. It's very, very toxic to koi. Anything above 5 parts per billion, you know, it can damage the skin, gills. So copper and other heavy metals is one thing that we don't want in his water. I best just stop waffling now and we'll get straight into it. So I'll get some jugs set up, get some water in them, and we'll go from there. Right then guys, so we're set up for his first test. The first test that we are going to do is the potassium test. Now, the way we're going to do this is we've got 3 jugs filled with water. We've got a 4th jug just to use to wash my redox meter in to clean the probes before and after use. So the first jug over here, that's the jug we are going to add the potassium into. This one is the jug what we're going to add the Complete Pond Detox into, and this jug is going to be the test jug to see whether the detox is actually doing anything to the sample inside it. So the first jug what's going to have the potassium in it, what we're actually going to do, the dose that we're going to do in these jugs is the dose that is recommended as by the packet. So the dose on the packet is 6.8 grams per 4,546 litres of water. So that's the dose that we're going to be aiming for, or should I say the equivalent dose, obviously, because we're doing this in 1 litre jugs. So the way we're going to do that is, I've done a little bit of calculation, or should I say ChatGPT's done a little bit of calculation for me, so we can get these equivalent doses. So in the first jug what's having the potassium in it, that's going to have 1.5 grams of potassium in it, and then once that's in there and been mixed up, we are going to extract 1 milliliter through this syringe and add it to the sample jug. Once that's in there, we'll take a reading, an ORP reading with the redox meter to show us what strength and what dose as potassium is at. Because obviously potassium it's an oxidizer, just like chlorine, so it does have a redox value. So the way we are going to test this, active potassium has a millivolt reading of about 450 millivolts, and then what we would be looking for when we add the detox into that is for that, obviously, the colour of the potassium to change from pink to a brown and clear colour, and also the redox reading should also fall to show us that the potassium has been neutralised. The second jug we're going to add is Complete Pond Detox into that jug, and that's going to have 10 grams put into it, which is what is recommended on the pack. So 10 grams per 1,000 litres of pond water. But what I found with the Pond Detox is, if you are using the Pond Detox to act as a detox to neutralise chemicals in your water, potassium, you know, metals or whatever, then I would recommend that you do a double dose. If you're just using it as a flocculant, if you're using it to improve water clarity, fish health, things like that, then a standard 10 grams per 1,000 litres is fine. But I think if you're going to use it to neutralise pollutants, then you're better off doing a double dose, so that would be 20 grams per 1,000 litres. But the way we're going to do this to get the equivalent dose in a 1 litre jug is we're going to add 10 grams of detox into the middle jug, mix it up, and then through the syringe again we're going to extract 2 millilitres and add it to the jug that will have the active potassium permanganate in. and then that will give us an effective dose of 2 times dose of the Complete Pond Detox in a normal dose of potassium permanganate, as recommended by the packet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open my potassium up, and we're going to get 1.5 grams measured out and get it into that jug. So we want 1.5 grams of potassium in here. Slightly over 1.5, but you get the gist. It's there or thereabouts. And that is going to be added to this jug here. So that's 1.5 grams of potassium. We'll get that mixed in. So that's in there. And then what we need to do is extract 1 milliliter of this and put it into his test jug here. So what I've done, just to make life a bit easier, I've extracted 5 ml, and I'm just going to drip 1 ml in from this. Into a sample jug. So that's 1 ml of potassium. Now that strength, what's gone into there now, that is the equivalent of adding 6.8 grams into 4,546 litres of pond water. So what we shall do is we will measure the redox reading of this. You can see it's got a pink tint to it. I'll also take you off at tripod and give a closer look. We'll get his redox meter calibrated, make sure it's reading properly, and we'll go from there. First, what I'm going to do is get us 10 grams of detox added to this jug here. So we'll get us again, get us detox powder. And we'll weigh out 10 grams. Bang on the money. Don't know how well you can see that. There we go. 10 grams of detox. So that is going to go into this jug. Stir up. Right, so what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm just going to get the redox meter set up, and we'll get this thing calibrated. Right, so what we're going to do before we calibrate it, this is his calibration solution. So this is Hanna calibration solution, 240 millivolts. So that is a constant reading of 240 millivolts. So that's what we're aiming for on his redox meter. But before we do it, we're going to have to give the probes a good clean in this water here. So this is just deionized water. You have to do this because the storage solution, what's within the cap, to keep the probe clean and to stop it from drying out. So we just rinse it in this deionized water just to get any of that solution off, and then we shall just dry it off and then get it into us calibration solution. And like I say, what we're looking for on this is for the redox meter to read 240 millivolts, and then we know that the probe is accurate. So we'll just have to get a little bit to stabilize. If it's out a little bit, then we'll recalibrate it, but it should be good because it's not long since been calibrated. So it's there or thereabouts. A couple of millivolts here and there, isn't really anything to worry about, but you can see we're at 239 at the minute. Anybody that's using one of these redox meters, I've said it before, but it's of utmost importance that you get yourself some calibration solution, because if you do use it to dose potassium, if you've got a meter that's not calibrated, then you could end up landing yourself in deep shit. So remembering that jug of PP is at packet dose of 6.8 grams per 4,546 litres, and active potassium has a millivolt reading of about 450 millivolts upwards. So we'll see what we're at. Might take a little while to stabilise up to that level, but it is climbing. So while it's climbing and stabilising, guys, I'm not going to bore you to death and make you watch this go up, so I shall come back to you once it's settled. Right then, guys, so we've stabilised at around 492, as you can see, 493. So the potassium in there is very active, is indicated by the millivolt reading and also the colour state of the water. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the redox meter out. We're going to rinse it off in this distilled water. We're going to check it again for its accuracy in the test solution. So we've already proved that it's accurate once. We've had it in there to test the level. Now we're going to test the accuracy again. So we're going to prove the accuracy again, and then we're going to add 2 ml of the Complete Pond Detox into the potassium, and that is 2 times dose, so that is the equivalent of 20 grams per 1,000 litres. So we'll get this out, we'll get it rinsed off just to take any of that residual potassium off of the sensors. We'll prove the accuracy again. So again, it should be around 240 millivolts. Climbing slowly. So it's getting there. Bloody thing. Sorry about that bloody thing, guys. So as you can see, we're at 238. So it's just about there. A couple of millivolts is near here, near there, really. So what we shall do now is we're going to extract 2 mil. So well, I'm actually going to extract 5, and then we'll just drip 2 mil in. So there's a syringe. We're going to again rinse this off so none of that solution is going into that jug. So that's that. Rinse that off, and then we're going to drip, like I say, 2 millilitres of this into here, 2 ml of this detox, and we shall observe. First we'll observe the colour change, and then we'll see what redox reading we get. So that's 2 millilitres in there. We shall stir it up, and slowly you will start to see the colour state change, which is obviously what happens in his natural reaction when we neutralise potassium. It goes from pink to a browny colour. So that's in there. And then, like I say, ever so slowly you'll start to notice the colour drop out. I don't know how well you guys are seeing it, but I'm starting to see it drop out already, slowly. Don't know how well it shows up on camera, but if you can see that now, there's not a lot of pink tint to that. So we shall take his ORP meter, and we shall see what reading we get. Active potassium is above 450, so if this is neutralised now, we should start to see it come below 450. Again, I'm just going to leave that in there a bit. I'm going to let it settle, and then we'll come back to it. As you can see now, the colour has totally dropped out. The millivolts is dropping. Well below 450. So that has showed us that the detox has worked for neutralising potassium permanganate. Right, so you've seen that neutralises that. So what we're going to do now, just for a little bit of fun, we're going to see what happens if you was to use a double dose of potassium, because I know everybody likes to use different doses, not everybody uses the dose on the packet. So just as a tester, we're going to see what would happen if you was to use twice the dose of potassium. So rather than using 6.8 grams per 4,546 litres, we're going to see what would happen if you was to end up using, what would it be, near on 13-14 grams, something like that. So let's test that out. I'm going to draw up, instead of 1 millilitre of potassium, I'm going to draw up 2 millilitres of potassium, just for a little bit of fun and a little bit of experiment. So we've got that there, and we're going to drip 2 ml into a fresh jug. One ml and 2 ml. So that's 2 ml of potassium. That's just double dose. Can't find my stirring stick, wherever it's gone. There. So that's a double dose of potassium, that. And you'll notice it's considerably pinker than the last test that we did. I'm going to get rid of that out of a syringe. Just get a quick rinse out. And then I'm not going to faff about with ORP meter this time, because this is just for a little bit of fun. We'll do this by colour change, again we're going to draw up the same amount of detox. So again 2 ml would go into here, and this would be again a double dose of detox just like the first one was. So we'll drip 2 milliliters into his double dose of potassium. Might take a little bit longer to start changing colour, but we'll observe it and see what happens, and see whether we would need any extra detox added if we was to do a double dose of potassium. Might take a little bit longer to change colour if it's going to. Right guys, so you can see where we're at now. We're at the 410 millivolt mark, 4.9, going down ever so slowly. So I think it's still going down a little bit more. It's probably just about neutralised it. As you can see, it's still falling. It's probably just about neutralised it. The colour's completely gone. We're starting to fall towards the 400 mark now. Taken quite a while to do it, but it is getting there. So it does work. You know, a double dose of Pond Detox, it does work to neutralise a double dose of potassium, but it does take quite a bit longer. It'd probably work much quicker if you were to do like a 25 gram dose. As you can see, it is doing it, and this is just a double dose like we did before on the last test. As you can see, we're at the 400 mark now. So I think it's safe to say that it has neutralised it. There you go, we've just broke down below the 400 millivolt mark. So it is safe to say that it has neutralised the double dose of potassium, albeit a lot slower. But yeah, it's got there in the end. Just a little bit of a fun experiment, that one, really. So now we're going to move on to testing copper. Now for me, testing this product for copper was one of the main tests that I wanted to do. I wanted to see how effective this stuff was at removing copper and other heavy metals, especially when you consider the fact that, you know, other products what you can use, such as you know, bone char in Big Blues and stuff like that. Well, bone char itself ain't cheap. Extremely expensive product to be removing heavy metals out of your water. Then obviously you've got your cost of your Big Blues and your stuff like that, other carbons what you might need, and you know, once you've done it, all adds up. Obviously as well with Big Blues, you're probably forever having to backwash them if water starts tracking through the carbon and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're no good, but I'm just saying if you've got an alternative what you can use, or a product you can use as well as to be removing those heavy metals, then surely that's got to be a good thing. Because as we know, copper, heavy metals, they're all absolute nightmare in koi ponds. They can cause problem after problem, not just making your fish look bad for, you know, the skin and making the gills poorly and things like that, but if there's high levels of heavy metals in your pond, your fish go sulky, and then of course that can lead on to other problems, getting weak, parasites attack, secondary infections and stuff like that. So just by having metals in your koi pond can lead to a whole host of problems. So for me, having a product that could potentially remove those heavy metals out of the water, that was a big thing for me. So we shall move on to copper now. We'll get that tested and we'll see just what happens with it. Right then, so what we've got here, guys, this is me copper test. So there's just something that I want to show you first. The issue that I've had doing this test. This is tap water, so this is just a sample. This is another sample with the reagent added. So I'll show you the problem to start with, what I've had doing this test. So if we first add one sample, let that read that, and we'll take that out, and we'll add his sample with his reagent added. So there you see my problem. My water has no copper in it. Alright, so the thing what I've got to do this test is I've got to manually add copper to the water. So the way I'm going to have to do that is, again, I'm going to have to use a 1 litre jug with water in it. But what I've got is, where is it? Some copper sulfate. Alright, so it's a copper solution, copper sulfate. So what I'm going to have to do is add some of this copper, manually add it to the jug of water, and then we'll test the concentration of copper within the water in a sample, and then we shall add the pond detox to that water, what's got the copper in it, and see just exactly how much it neutralises it by, if at all. So we'll get these jugs filled up again, guys. I'll get some of this copper added, we'll get it measured and we'll go from there. Right then, guys, so what we've got, I've got my scales again, got me copper sulfate, that's it, nice blue colour, copper sulfate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 gram of this, weigh 1 gram out and add it to this jug, and then I'm going to extract 1 milliliter out of there and put it into this jug, and hopefully, according to ChatGPT, that should make us a concentration in there of around about 300 parts per billion, something like that. Well, we'll see anyway. As long as we've got some level of copper in there, that's all I'm bothered about. I'm not really bothered about what concentration it is, as long as we've got something to test against. So I shall weigh out 1 gram of copper sulfate. That's near as damn it, 1.01 gram. So that's going to go into there. We'll mix that up. And then I'm going to extract some more. And like I say, I'm going to put 1 milliliter into this jug here to give us well, about 300 parts per billion. Like I say, I'm not really bothered if it is or not though, as long as we've got something to test for. So that's in there. Give that a stir up. That's that. And then I'm going to weigh out another 10 grams of Complete Pond Detox. Again, this is going to be making a double dose up. Bang on 10 grams again. I'm getting better at this measuring malarkey. Right then. So that's 10 grams. Add that into that jug. Give that a good mix up. And then what we're going to do, before I add any of this detox into that jug, we're going to measure the copper concentration of that third jug and see where we're at. Right, so I've got us 2 vials, sample water, and there's other sample water that's got as reagent added. So we shall see where we're at. Turn the torch off so it doesn't affect any light inside the thing itself. Oh, look at that. Right, copper concentration of 310 parts per billion in that jug. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 ml out of there into there. We'll get these vials cleaned out again. We'll take some fresh samples. We'll get another reagent into one of them, and then we'll go and measure it again. Right, let's take some of this up. Two ml of this. Into there. Give it a good stir up. And then we shall refill as vials. Come back to you in a minute, guys. Right, so we've got us 2 test vials then, guys. So sample out of the detox, and then another sample with the reagent added. So we're going to get us first one in. Just see one sample. That in there. C2. And there you have it, guys. Absolutely nuked all the copper out of that jug. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. Now, what can you say about that? It's superb, really. If you've got a product what can just wipe out all those metals out of your water, then well, I can't really say much more than that, can I really? Yeah, absolutely fantastic, brilliant. Now obviously we know that there's other products that will neutralise chlorine and potassium permanganate, but in my humble opinion, if you've got a product that can not only neutralise chlorine treatments such as potassium, but also get rid of copper and heavy metals out your water, then in my opinion that's absolutely fantastic and well worth it. You know, obviously, especially if you take into consideration dealing with the cost of bone char, if you can get bone char, because it's not always readily available. Sometimes there's supply shortages, or you know, you can sometimes struggle to get bone char into the country. But yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic product, guys. Now another thing what I should mention is, obviously I've been testing this product for a couple of months now. In fact, probably a couple of months to this day. We're on the 16th. When did show open? Was it the 15th, I think? Yeah, so maybe exactly 2 months I've been testing this for. And over those 2 months that it's been going in my pond, the fish have changed dramatically. You'll probably see from the video at the start of this video, fish looking absolutely fantastic. Mucus heads have completely disappeared. The water clarity has absolutely improved 5-fold. Yeah, and they've just been doing superb. The way they've been eating, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I don't know, I mean, like I say, I've not got any copper in my water, so the only thing I can put it down to is there must have been something else in my water. My water parameters were good. I didn't have no chlorine in my water, so there must have just been something else in my water. They didn't have no parasites, so there must have just been something else that I couldn't see, didn't know about. And over those 2 months using the detox, it's wiped out whatever was in there, and the fish have absolutely rejuvenated to come back to life, and looking absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I mean, what more can I say? Nothing really. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked in just how it's removed that copper out of that water. Never in a million years. I mean, when I was first giving it to try to test out, I was a bit dubious, because obviously there's many a product on market that promises this, that and other. A lot of them don't really live up to the hype. So when you get given a product to try out, you think, is it another one of these products what's going to fail to deliver on what it promises? So I was a bit dubious at first, but yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. To have a product like this that can just wipe out things such as copper, you know, and heavy metals out your water, absolutely bloody brilliant. On the 13th of December, well, if you know, I've got 2 bags here. That's mine. Now, on the 13th of December, just like we did last year, we're doing an OnlyFins live Christmas giveaway on the 13th of December, 8 o'clock, probably on Dave Eden Koi Pond's YouTube channel. And we're going to be giving one of these 2 kilogram bags of Complete Pond Detox away. Frank's kindly provided a bag for us to give away to somebody. So yeah, if you're there, you'll be with a chance of winning that. What else were I going to say? Anybody that's interested in buying any of this stuff, I'm going to leave a link in the description, what you can click on, and it'll take you to the dealers that stock the Complete Pond Detox. There's 3 dealers that stock it, so if you click on the link, it'll take you to the website of the dealers that stock it, and you can purchase it for yourself to try out. They do it in a 1 kilogram bag and a 2 kilogram bag. I believe the 2 kilogram bags is about 55 quid, something like that, and I think the 1 kilogram bag is about 35. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it's something like that. But yeah, guys, there's not much more I can say really. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The proof is in the pudding. Oh, dirty Trump. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for sticking with me through this video. I know we don't really like waffling videos as a thing, but it is what it is. I wanted to share my tests with you. Again, if you didn't see the testing on the chlorine, go back and watch that video. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank, for allowing me to test the product. Absolutely fantastic. See you in a bit, guys.